America, it's time for the Ringside Wranglers Dirt Sheet with your hosts, Haz-Bin and Jack Jaw.
What's up, wrestling fans? Guess what? I'm Jack Jaw, and that's Haz-Bin, and we are the Ringside Wranglers, and we're talking dirt. What's up, Haz-Bin?
How's it going, brother? I tell you what, I had a lot of fun hanging out with you Saturday night. Yes, that's right, Saturday night, watching wrestling, AEW, great pay-per-view, kind of got crapped on the internet. I really don't care. Internet doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. A lot of things to talk about. So let's get started.
That's right. This week on the dirt, we got dirt like every other week. Good dirt, bad dirt. We even got old dirt this week, but it's all dirt. This week, we've got plans already in the work for a Wrestlemania match. A little ahead of schedule, but the plans are in the works. We've got no plans for this hottie in the WWE. We've got a Hell in a Cell match in the making, and it's shaping up. We've got holy Miro from the AEW. That was pretty tight. We've got people who have been rejected, who have rejected AEW. We always hear it the other way, but this week we got a story on a couple guys that rejected the AEW. We've got Badmouthing going on in the WWE. We've got Jim Ross checking out the ladies. That was all over the news this week. And we also got news. Speaking of Jim Ross, we've got a bunch of stories that Jim Ross has that is nothing but old-time dirt, good stuff to talk about. So let's go to the top. Plans already in the works for a WrestleMania match. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We got Roman Reigns, who's ascended to the top of being the ultimate heel. He's got the ultimate heel advocate of the reigning and defending world undisputed champ, Paul Heyman. So he's already in the works. Ultimate heel. They've already got the angle where they're pitching with Bray Wyatt. He's going to face Bray Wyatt. It looks like this may linger on all the way until WrestleMania, until ultimate blowout. Vince, there he is right there. He's working behind the scenes to set up this WrestleMania match. What you think, Haz-Bin?
You know, if you look at all the dirt sheets on the internet, everybody and their mama, that's my new favorite saying, by the way, everybody and their mama says that Roman Reigns being heel is one of the most wonderful things that could have ever happened. All the wrestlers in AEW, independents, WWE themselves, they all say Roman Reigns being heel is a wonderful thing. I agree. Guy came in with the Shield as a heel. Works really good as a heel. Now, the whole thing about Paul Heyman, why does he need Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman is getting paid very, very well by the WWE. And just like any other employer, you don't want to see one of your cash cows sitting at home doing nothing and getting paid handsomely. So they got to have him do something. Roman Reigns does not need Paul Heyman. He can do this all on his own, but Paul Heyman's got to be somewhere because he's got to earn his keep. He's got to earn the money that Vince is handsomely paying. I'm sorry, Mr. McMahon is handsomely paying him. So that's why you see him with Roman Reigns. But yeah, Roman being a heel, it's wonderful, and I think it's long overdue. The same thing about Sasha Banks and Bayley finally having that heel turn. The same thing with Cedric Alexander going with the MVP's group, the Hurt Business. All this stuff should have happened, Jack? 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months ago, 10 months ago. But we just waited and we waited and we waited. And I guess we got tired of waiting. So as much as everybody's happy about it, I think you and I are in the position we're in, like, what the hell took so long?
No doubt. But I tell you what, if you're going to go heel, you can't go wrong with pairing him up with Paul Heyman. Speaking of pairing somebody up with the ultimate heel manager, did you see Vicky last night? She's teamed up with that person. That's crazy. That's pushing her to new levels of heel. But either way, that's pretty exciting. Look for that match at WrestleMania. It's crazy. They're already putting together WrestleMania this far in advance, but I guess they always do it. On to the next news. Last week we were talking about my favorite female tag team, who do we call them? The Iconics. The Iconics, they split them up a couple weeks ago. This week, you had Billie Kay fight her Peyton Royce. There they go. They're breaking them up. And word has it that they don't really have any plans for Billie Kay. I'm going, oh, no. What are they going to do? So, looks like Vince is in this shot somewhere. There they are, lovey-dovey. They can't believe it. They've broken him up. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I like the tag team that they were, but either way, I guess Peyton Royce can handle her on her own. But Billie Kay looks like she's going to go on the sidelines for a while. There's Vince staring at her, little weirdo. You like that going on right there, Billy Kay? They're not even going to use her. I like her. I like her style.
Yeah, but again, this is something that was well overdue for months and months and months. Peyton Royce is the more athletic of the two. Now, I will say one thing. Billy Kay is very tall, and she's very lanky, long legs, very athletic, and I think they could do a lot with her. But the bottom line is Peyton Royce is a lot friendlier on the eyes. She's got the hot body. Of course, she is in a relationship, be it married or engaged, or whatever you want to go with Taylor Blanchard's boy in AEW, the Perfect 10. So that goes a long way too. And we talked about this for the past several weeks on this this cast. So Peyton Royce is the favorite daughter of the two, and no disrespect at all to Billy Kay, but Peyton Royce is where they want to go right now because she's got the physical look, she's got the athletic look, and you know, sex sells, man. Look at all the TNA matches back in the day, you know. Peyton Royce is she's a hot wrestler, man. Unlike Jim Ross, I don't need to apologize. I will say with a straight face, don't give a damn. The woman's hot.
You're like, please pop out, pop out, pop out. On to another match in the works. We've got big Hell in the Cell match in the making. You know this was coming. They've been building this thing up. You've got Randy Orton. You've got the champ. There he is right there, Drew McIntyre. They fought already at Payback. They're getting ready to fight again. No, they didn't fight at Payback. I'm wrong. He got hurt before Payback. He didn't fight at all. They fought at SummerSlam. Then now they're going to fight at Clash of the Champions, and that hopefully is going to escalate into the Ultimate Showdown at Hell in a Cell. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. If that does go down, you got to think that maybe Randy would win the title at the Clash of Champions. I don't know about that. That's kind of a big monumental move for him to hit 14 titles or 14 reigns or whatever you want to call it. But either way, that would be one heck of a Hell in a Cell match. What you think of that one?
Agreed. You have to be careful with these Hell in a Cell matches, kind of like having Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda come out every single time as the Fiend. It ruins the moment. It ruins the magic, if you will. You got to be careful with that, like you did with The Undertaker back in the day with Mark Calloway. But I said this last week. I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it as long as I'm blessed to be able to be on this program. Randy Orton needs to have a championship belt, a world championship belt around his waist or his shoulders, wherever the heck he wants to wear it. It's more than time. It's more than time for the rated RKO. It's time for the man to get gold around his waist or his shoulders. It's just more than time. I'm sorry. He's got to have that belt.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
It's getting old, man. It's getting old. It's getting old to see a guy with that kind of talent, a third generation wrestler, just sitting around, waiting, rinse, lather, repeat, waiting. Put the damn belt around the guy already, man. He deserves to have the belt around his waist or his shoulders, wherever he wants to wear it.
Well, if this does go the trifecta, all three match escalating all the way up to Hell in a Cell, the only way I see Randy not winning it is if there ends up being like a DQ at the Clash of Champions, which would be an atrocity if that happened. And then you have the third match of the series. So you've got Drew McIntyre beating him convincingly, I thought, at SummerSlam. Who knows what's going to happen here? So this could be the rubber match at Hell in a Cell.
Man, I have all the respect in the world for Drew McIntyre, and I'm glad that he has the belt, and I think he's doing the best he can to be a champion. But you know, with everybody's got fall fever right now with football starting, so I'm going to use a football analogy. You know, I love to use these sports analogies. With the Cincinnati Bengals, we got our LSU brethren Joe Burrow going to start. Okay, if for some reason John Brady ends up getting on Cincinnati's team, are you going to sit him on the bench just because you pay all that money to Joe Burrow and let him play? Hell no, you're not. You're going to put Tom Brady in there because he's a champ. And what I'm trying to go at with this analogy is, I understand that McIntyre is a champ. I understand he's going to have that belt for a long time, right? But it's time to let the people who have the experience, who've got the years, who's got all that work and sweat and blood they put in, let the damn guy get the belt. Let him run for a while, and Drew can learn from the guy. Instead of having Drew have all that pressure on him, and he ends up failing to deliver in some people's eyes, not in mine, but a lot of people like to troll on the net and talk all this trash, like they sure the hell can do it on their own. The bottom line is, I still think Randy Orton needs to get that belt one more time so Drew can learn from it. Doesn't mean Drew has to be without it for a year or so. I'm not saying that. But Randy Orton needs to get that belt for a while, man. Because it's starting to get to the point now where the belt's getting cheapened. It's getting cheapened now. That's why I like AEW so much. I love Jon Moxley being the AEW champion. Because he's the kind of champion. He's not what most people think of a champion. He's a renegade, just wild-ass heathen. And I love the guy. I love him. And that's what you need. And that's what Randy Orton is. He's a wild-ass heathen, kicks people in the head for the hell of it. I love him.
Love fest.
And that's what you need.
A little love fest.
It's what you need.
That's where you go. I don't know about I need to see a love fest, but either way, if you want to have a love fest, that's between you and him. Next up on the dirt sheet, we got Rusev showing up.
No.
The newly fresh blonde look.
Not Rusev anymore. He's
Miro.
He's Don't Call Me Mark Miro.
That's right. There he is, the best man. I kind of like the way they swung that, bringing him out the best man. I tell you what, there was so much stuff going on this week behind this story. You had his real life wife who still works for WWE. I got to think that they don't like her.
She keeps selling those energy drinks third party. She won't be working there much longer.
Yeah, she's like giving him high five and thumbs up for his debut on AEW. How do you like the cutthroat line that he said to Vince right there, where he says, "You can take your brass ring and stick it up your ass"? What? That was a little intense. You wonder when they say stuff like that. They go, "Did they just slam the door? There's no way they can go back."
No, because he didn't do anything wrong. I think, I personally, from everything I've read, Vince McMahon is the one to blame on this, because he's sitting here telling the artist formerly known as Rusev that all these fans chanting Rusev Day and all the merchandise sales and on T-shirts and all, that was all the fans making fun of Rusev and playing him as a child, kind of like, how far can I drag a jackass with a rope tied around their neck? That's what he tells Rusev, instead of telling him the truth. Dude, Rusev, you're hot. I apologize. I really didn't think that you were going to be this strong. Well, man, you blew it up the park here. You knocked out the park, and you need to stay here. But instead, he wants to sit here and tell Rusev, you ought to be. The fans are just making fun of you. They don't really care for you. And yet, did you hear what they did on the last night? Of course, it's Thursday when we record this. Did you hear what they did Wednesday night?
Hero Day. Yeah,
they were all chanting for him in unison on Wednesday night, Dynamite. So yeah. Sorry, Vince. You can take that brass ring and shove it up your ass. I agree with. Don't call me Mark. Don't call me Mark Miro. I agree with him.
Yep. So he's got. He put a little news tidbit out there about being a heel and how he was getting tired of being the heel. And then when they made him a face, it was that lame, that lame thing with his ex-wife and who they had paired her up. That whole broken up divorce thing. That's not a good face angle to me. So it looks like landing in AEW is going to serve Mr. Miro well.
Yeah, and they put him right back into another wedding angle again. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let the guy do his thing. What the hell do you got to have Don't Call Me Mark Miro and all these freaking wedding angles? Just let the guy do his thing. I miss the artist formerly known as Rusev when he came out there with that long hair and he had his feet taped up and he looked like one of the Samoan SWAT team. That's the Don't Call Me Mark Miro Rusev I like, but we'll never see that guy again.
Yep, no doubt. On to the next one. We've got news of AEW getting rejected by some WWE talent. Can't believe that one. There's a jacked up graphic right there. There's areas right there. Who had any idea that Rey Mysterio was possibly whining and dining the AEW recently until he signed his deal with Mr. Vince Kennedy McMahon to stay with WWE? Who would have thought that? Did you know that was in the works?
Yeah, I believe it, because I also read that Alan Jones Styles, a.k.a. AJ Styles, also was talking to AEW about going there, and Vince found about it and signed him in. So all these WWE superstars, whether you like it or you don't like it, they're all using. You like that, huh? Triple H. Yeah. They're all using AEW as a platform for financial leverage to stay with WWE. And I mean, whether you like it or you don't like it, I mean, you can't blame them. But that just goes to show you, the next time somebody tells me AEW ain't worth a damn, That's your grounds to slap that idiot right across the teeth out of their mouth, because AEW is a major force in this industry, and the WWE superstars themselves are using AEW as a platform to better their financial careers to stay in WWE, because if they don't get what they want in WWE, guess what's going to happen? They're going to go work for AEW. And don't say they won't, because Don't Call Me Mark Miro did it. Chris Jericho did it. Matt Hardy did it. Dean Ambrose, John Moxley did it.
Yep.
The TNT champion, Bruiser Brody Lee, he did it.
Yep.
Who's going to be next?
Well, here's another one.
What about Woo Woo Woo? He did it.
Woo, woo, he's there. Woo 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 said, "Thank you. I'll take the money and not have to work so hard." This week, also check out this one that almost went. Did you know the Edge was a chance? But right back before the Royal Rumble, when he made his big splash coming back, he was in talks to go to AEW. But Vince wanted nothing to do with that. Vince was like, "Ain't no way I'm letting somebody back on another brand."
But guess what? If it wouldn't have been for AEW being in existence, these people could have never gone to Vince and said, "Hey, these guys got to put me." You think if he would have said, "Oh, Ring of Honor got an offer for me," or Impact got an offer for me, Vince would have said, "Go ahead then, be my guest. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out." But when you say AEW's got that's like WCW back in the late '90s. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't want to say this to the world because I'm scared to say it, but that idiot in Baton Rouge that no Mark Haz-Bin is going to say it. AEW is competition for us, so I better keep you.
Yeah, everybody knows right now AEW is good for business. So either way, good for the wrestling fan. Whether you like AEW or not, you know it's bringing up everybody's level. Yes. On to the next bit of dirt. We got some backstage stuff going on. It looks like Bobby Lashley is out there commenting on what it's like to work in WWE. And it looks like certain individuals are going to Vince and saying, "Hey, Vince, get with Lashley and let him put me over." And if you start to think about that, you start to think about different people that have beat Lashley that you said, "What? How did that person beat Lashley?" And maybe the new reign of Lashley as United States champion, who did he beat last week? He beat the former champ right there. But either way, he beat him. Now he's the champ, but his ultimate goal is to be the world heavyweight champion. They gave him a chance against Drew McIntyre not too long ago. But hey, you gotta feel for the guy that they're using him as overbait, put people over the top. People can go to Vince, but he's definitely getting the rap for that's the guy to help put people over.
If you keep denying an alpha male like that, who's a genetic freak, even more than Scotty Steiner, yes, I did say it. But if you can keep denying a guy like that and not give him what he wants, but what he's earned, then guess what? I think Cody Reynolds everybody's got his number on speed dial. He's called Cody up. He'll go work for AEW. They'll pick him in a heartbeat. Not a problem. The more AEW racks up, like you just said earlier, Jack, the more AEW racks up, the more they become a threat in competition. And who wins in competition in the wrestling business? Everybody. The wrestlers win. The wrestlers definitely win because competition keeps you from being to the point of being lazy and not getting the job done. But the fans also win too, like you said earlier.
Yep. But either way, I think his ultimate, Bobby Lashley's there. He wants to win the title. And I guess at some point he's always wanted a match against none other than Brock Lesnar because they never fought in UFC. That may or may not happen. But, hey, I'm not sure why that hasn't happened yet. There's got to be some inner workings back there that hasn't come off yet.
Well, if Brock Lesnar's longer with WWE, that's going to be kind of hard to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Contract. He's a free agent still. I'm checking the phones, man. Nobody's signed him yet. Well, trust me, they're signing him before WrestleMania. You know it. Either way, next up on the dirt sheet, we got Jim Ross in the news coming out of this past weekend's AEW pay-per-view. I don't understand why he was getting so much heat for this. Jim Ross commenting when he sees somebody having trouble under the ring or something saying, "Hey, I'm hoping for a wardrobe malfunction." And if you
know what? I was at your house. We were watching that show together at your house. I heard when he said that comment, and I kind of chuckled inside, and I just brushed it off because I thought it was cool that a guy like that would say something like that, which is a guy with his kind of experience and all. He was kind of like being modern day. I mean, anybody, look at the woman. Look at that woman. Look, take your freaking glasses off and look at that woman. Any red-blooded American male on the face of the earth that's half of a man would want to see that woman with a wardrobe malfunction. And if you don't, then maybe you ought to go hang with that other freaking whatever that clown is, and Vicky Guerrero's creature. Maybe those two guys can make a tag team. But you know what? I agree with Jim Ross 100%. I would love to see the wardrobe malfunction too, and I am not going to apologize because I'm a red-blooded American male, and I'm damn proud of it. And I ain't with Marcus Bagwell either. That American males, not that group.
You know what? A producer Punk about that, he would be going, "Oh no, please, no wardrobe malfunction. Please, no wardrobe malfunction." He wouldn't want to see that.
Whatever.
But either way, I like the way he fired back real quick. He said, "Hey man, this is Jim Ross talking real quick." He didn't let it sit for a minute. He was like, "Hey man, I didn't mean to offend anybody on the wardrobe malfunction line. Weak attempted humor. I didn't think it was weak."
I guarantee you one thing.
He says, "Lighten up."
If anybody would have asked her what her opinion was of it, I guarantee she probably would have looked at those pictures and she would have probably closed her eyes and smiled and said, all those years of hard work I did, sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, financial, to get my body in the condition like it is right now, for that man to say that, it was worth every damn thing I did for that legendary announcer to say that, and I'm cool with it. That means that I'm over now. Thank you, Mr. Ross, for saying that. You just put me over. Instead of these goddamn little crazy-ass marks that are sitting at home, I'm going to go to hell. Jesus is going to kill me because I'm looking at a woman in a bikini. Get the hell over it, man.
That's crazy. But that was pretty funny. You know what? It's funny the way all this stuff works out. You look back and you go, man, look what all good that happened out of that story. But either way, speaking of Jim Ross, I did some research. I saw some articles about old stories that Jim Ross tells. He's been in the business for what, 30 years, 40 years? 40, I'm guessing. Look at some of these stories this guy has told and has been a part of. Back in the day, at some point, Jim Ross has known to say that he actually attempted to make peace between Steve Austin and Owen Hart. Those guys right there didn't get along.
Well, I mean, you trying to break a man's neck. I can understand why they didn't get along.
That's right. So he's gone on record as saying, hey, I actually tried to make peace with these guys. That's a funny story there. Right. Next up, he puts out there that he actually advised Vince to pass on Samoa Joe and Awesome Kong. Now, Awesome Kong, she came and had the one-nighter show and got pregnant and had to leave. But I think Samoa Joe's kind of worked out pretty good for WWE. There he is right there. That's your man, Jim Ross. Next, guess what else? When your boy Cody Rhodes was putting together the AEW roster, putting together how the show was going to go down, he first brought on Jim Ross, and guess what Jim Ross says? Jim Ross says, hey, you need to hire Tony Schiavone. How about that story? That's a good story. Hey, after the pay-per-view this past weekend, Tony Schiavone was answering live questions on Facebook. He called me out like 4 times. Jack Jaw this, Jack Jaw this. It was awesome. Me and Tony Schiavone are tight. Should have seen it. I wish I could have taped it. No, he didn't do it live, but either way, he called me out by name, Jack Jaw, 3 times. Next up, how about this one? Vince actually thought that this man, none other than Mick Foley, was going to ruin JR because JR would be like beside himself on his matches with all the wackiness of Mick Foley. That's a pretty good story he tells. And then how about this? I didn't realize this at the time. Did you know that when they drafted him to be the announcer for SmackDown, he was distraught over that?
Yeah, you see all these books I'm showing you right now? All these stories that you're talking about? He's talking about in both these books. You've got The Man with the Black Cat that I have right here, which is his most recent one. That's this one. It's his most recent book. And then the one prior to that would be the Slobber Knocker book. I got both of these off of Amazon. And if you want a really good read, these 2 books are phenomenal because everything that you're saying right now, he talked about that in these 2 books. Guaranteed fact. Good read.
Yep. How about this one? When he was with WWE, he was actually trying to sign Sting to come over and fight The Rock.
Yep.
Did you know that one? That would have been a pretty big.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sting was a big deal from whenever he signed him from the Mid-South days, and they came over to Georgia Championship Wrestling and all that. I mean, JR had a lot to do with that. and the WCW stuff. And of course, Sting is the icon of the WCW, like Undertaker is the WWE. So it only makes sense. And I know they wanted to get Undertaker and Sting for WrestleMania. I mean, they were dying for that. Unfortunately, it never happened, and it probably can't happen now because both those guys are not physically ready to go like it would have been. And even if they do, it'd probably be a stick match because they won't be able to be in the prime like whenever Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar went. They weren't in their prime. Yeah. It's just not worth it. If it's going to be a stink fest, it's not worth it.
Yeah, you said stink fest. I said sting fest. That's pretty dumb. I know. Next up, your boy Jim Ross. He's got a story right there with none other than Buff Marcus Alexander Bagwell. You remember this story? When Bagwell first signed with WWE, he no-showed for a Raw, and he had his mom call in and say that he was sick. And Vince told Jim Ross told Vince, and that's what got him fired. And Buff Bagwell to this day claims that JR got him fired.
No, you know what got Bagwell fired? Number one, he was Eric Bischoff's ass licker. That was the one thing that got him fired. And the other thing that got him fired was a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. That got him fired too. Now you can say what you want about DDP. He was another one of Bischoff's ass lickers too. But with all due respect, Diamond Dallas Page really came on strong. He's got the DDP yoga thing going. It's really, really working good. And the whole thing about him was saving the life of Jake Roberts, saving the life of Scott Hall, was who put him in the Hall of Fame, WWE. And to me, DDP is a different story than that. But the thing with Bagwell, I mean, look, man, I know he had the greatest, one of the hugest physiques and all, but that's just a guy that, you know, you hang around, you hang with a bully, a bunch of bullies at school, and you're the ass licker of the chief bully. You got it set for life, man. But whenever that bully's no longer in power, then what's going to happen to you?
Yep.
What happens to you then?
Remember this guy? None other than Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Jim Ross is known to try to push him to be on the main event. So he wanted a big main event, WWE, WWF / main event push. Well, that guy was a blast from the past. That guy was sweet.
Yeah, and that's what really – that was the birth of the Oklahoma gimmick with Ed Ferrara and your other guy. I can't remember. How can I not remember this guy's name?
Yep. How about the emotional farewell that he had at Vince when Vince had to let go? You know, he let Ric Flair do something on the show or something, and Ric Flair did this and did that, and Jim got the blame for it. And apparently there was some, you know it in your books. I don't know the actual story the way it was, but apparently there was a firing between Vince and Jim Ross. So that's a good story that he tells. And then one of my favorite ones, the Chris Jericho, the time that he won the 2 belts and confronted Jim Ross about, hey, he was getting paid
man.
At WrestleMania 8.
Look how good he looks in that picture.
Yeah,
and then we saw him Saturday night, and it was like, man, what happened, bro? What happened?
Yeah, he's definitely not sporting that look anymore. He's sporting more of the beast look. Either way, the Rhino look. He's got the Rhino look. That's his next stop, Rhino. Next thing you know, Gore from Jericho. Either way, that about wraps up our dirt for this week. We've got more. We got dirt coming in all the time, but we just like to cover the stuff that we think is interesting. Look to us to cover independents. The independents are coming back online. Wrestling 225's got a show coming up. They're going to push. We'll have news on that one. Atomic Renegade Wrestling, they've got some stuff. I'm certain that Wildcat's got some stuff going on. Our buddy Cyrus the Virus is performing all over the place. Check him out. Either way, I am Jack Jaw. This has been the Dirt Sheet. That's Haz-Bin. Any final comments, Haz-Bin?
I was going to say, if you live in the Baton Rouge area and you have Cox Cable, there's on Channel 10, which I think is like one of the Baton Rouge stations. There's an organization, I think it's SPX or something. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they're based out of Canton, Texas. Canton, Texas is about an hour to the east of Dallas, maybe an hour and a half west of Shreveport, around I-20. But I've been watching their show. I didn't even know they were on to my DVR. I just had it set for wrestling as a code word, and it had been recording their shows. They've got the player hater Teddy Long as a general manager, their enforcer is the Road Warrior John Laurinaitis, and it's really good stuff. I mean, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, God rest his soul, his daughter Miranda Gordy is wrestling. Jasmine, who was with the Red Dog Rodney Mack, who I used to work with back in the day, she's their women's champion. Shaved her head, freaking, she's a nasty heel. It's really good stuff. So if you're living in Baton Rouge area and you have Cox Cable, I encourage you to look on Channel 10, which is one of the local Baton Rouge affiliates, and just trying to go on your guide and look for Under Wrestling. It's a really good show, and I make sure I watch it every week. It's good stuff. I like to go to one of the programs. Like I said, it's in Canton, Texas, which I think is it's about an hour or so as the crow flies east of Dallas off I-20. So be a cool little road trip to make.
Yeah, we'll need to find something else to go to. Tag team on that one. Hey, just want to do a shout out to your boy, your friend Barrett's in the house.
Yeah, I did see him. Hey, you were talking about the wrestling god. That dude and I, we go back a long, long way, which is freaking awesome. It's good to see him listening to us. He had a lot of fun back in the days with the wrestling hotlines and radio shows, and his whole family is amateur wrestling legends in the Bruley High School era with their version of the Four Horsemen. Don't want to mess with them dudes.
No way. Either way, this has been the Dirt Sheet brought to you by the Ringside Wranglers. That's Haz-Bin. I'm Jack Joe. We are out. Producer Punk, thanks for the show. Check us out next week, maybe sooner. We've got the dirt. We are the Ringside Wranglers. Check us out. Reach out to us at ringsidewranglers@gmail.com. Like and subscribe our Facebook and our YouTube and all that stuff. Comment. We'll give away stuff. Who knows what's going on? Check us out. We got the news. Pro wrestling is awesome. Later.
Yeah. And keep those guys in Lake Charles in your prayers, too, because they got a long recovery to go.
They'll do it. They can do it.